Hello guys, in today's video I would like to talk about the two knights attack against the Caro-Kann defense, which is in my opinion the trickiest response that you can play against the Caro-Kann, where basically black is falling for traps in all sorts of main lines. Now I learned this opening by observing two of the greatest CCCPs, chess content creating persons, which are in my opinion Jonathan Schranz and Eric Rosen, so full credit goes to them. Now, I don't usually just steal other people's content on this channel, so that's why rather than just plainly copying their traps and spreading awareness of their YouTube channels pointlessly, I will also be adding my own traps in the end of this video in variations where black manages to survive and avoid all the mainline traps. So to get this on the board, we will start with e4, then we go c6, knight to f3, pawn to d5, knight to c3. This is the two knights attack, and black has some options what to do here. If you are interested in learning about this opening in more depth, go ahead and check out the videos in the description. But in this video, I will only go through the most played lines and most common traps. So here they usually grab this pawn on e4, we will recapture with the knight, and the two most played moves are knight to f6 or bishop to f5. So let's start with knight to f6, we will capture this knight, they will recapture with their e-pawn, and we play pawn to d4. This is where they usually go bishop to d6, we will develop our bishop to d3, they get castled, and in this position, rather than getting castled ourselves, we will play this rare idea that is only being played 2% of the time with pawn to h4. Now, they either throw in this rook to e8 check, which is the most played move, or they go bishop to g4. Both of these lines will lead to the same trap. So let's just have a look at the rook to e8 check. We can sidestep this check with king to f1, and usually here they go bishop to g4. In this position, we are having the Greek gift sacrifice. But it is more than just Greek gift. This is the whole Greek Christmas. Because we are not only going to give them our bishop, but also our knight with knight to g5 check. So they should be grabbing both of these pieces. And now we are down two minor pieces, but we have a great attack going on. After pawn recaptures, we unleash our rook on the h-file. Now, sometimes in Greek gift positions, the best thing for black to do is to go king to g6. If they do this in this position, they are totally lost. We are going to capture this bishop, and here, like most guys, are trying to take control of the h-file, which runs into the amazing rook to h6 check, and this is a forced checkmate in a couple of moves. So usually they capture this, you recapture with a discovered check, which forces the king to f6, and after bishop to g5, you are not only going to win the queen, but this is a forced checkmate in the next 6 moves. In the next 5 moves. Thank you, Stockfish. Okay. So what they should be doing is hiding the king on the g8. But here, of course, we are going to recapture this bishop. And now we are only down one piece. If we throw on the Stockfish, it will say that this is like around equal or maybe even slightly better for white, but nobody is playing the correct move here. Like everybody is trying for a quick checkmate with queen to e7. You simply develop your bishop to d2. With this move you are preventing this checkmate, but also now you have ideas of putting this rook on the e-file where it will be very useful. In this position, most guys go to e4 with their queen, trying to exchange the queens, but we say no, 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 thank you. We want to checkmate you with our queen. And here most guys are trying to run away with their king, but this is where we throw in a rook to e1, and they can either sacrifice their queen for a rook, or they can get checkmated, as they cannot move the queen anywhere, otherwise, well, you know, it will be a queen to h8 checkmate. Alright, so this was the knight to f6 variation trap. This won me so many games. I love this trap. Let's have a look at bishop to f5. Here we can continue with knight to g3, harassing the bishop. Usually they go bishop to g6. But now again pawn to h4, and we are threatening to push h5 and trap the bishop. So they are kind of forced to move their h-pawn, and it doesn't matter if they go to h5 or h6, our trap are going to be the same. Now we go knight to e5, harassing the bishop even more. Most guys are going to put the bishop on h7, and here comes our queen to h5, and we are threatening a checkmate. So what most guys are going to do is play g6, and you blitz out bishop to c4, because if they capture the queen, this is a checkmate. So they cannot do that, but most guys will find out about your trap and play pawn to e6. Now you bring the queen back to e2, and the most three played moves are all going to lose them the game. It is bishop to g6, knight to f6, or knight to d7. All of these moves are going to run into the same tactics of ours: knight captures on f7. Hitting the queen, hitting the rook, so at least we are going to win the rook, but most guys are going to capture the knight and get checkmated just like this. And it doesn't matter if they play pawn to h5 here. This is even better for us, because after knight to e5 and bishop to h7, we are still having the same traps on the board, but now we are also collecting a one pawn in the process. So here after g6, you can again go bishop to c4, hanging your queen but getting a checkmate in return if they capture it. So they need to go pawn to e6 and again queen to e2. And in this position, even like the top 5 moves are loose. I mean, this position is lost anyways. Okay, now let's go back and let's have a look at what would happen if your opponent is actually prepared a little bit better in this variation and they know the best move here. And the best move here is not to move the bishop, but to go queen to d6. The idea of this move is to let us capture the bishop and then recapture with the queen, so they don't have to worry about damaging their pawn structure like this. So this is what we are going to do. We grab the bishop, they recapture with their queen, and little do they know that the most played moves here are going to get their queen trapped. So we will continue with pawn to d4, and now knight to f6 is the most played move. And now we have this rare sneaky idea of playing bishop to g5. And the purpose of this move is to cut off queen's access to this square, which is where they would be able to run away if we didn't include this move. And now most guys are going to play this natural knight to d7 or pawn to e6, and both of these moves are going to get their queen trapped with bishop to d3. Now technically the queen is not trapped, because they can save it with sacrificing the knight like this. Now they can move the queen to safety, but the engine is not impressed and says that this is just as bad as if they would hang the queen instead. Let's go back. How about they don't play knight to f6? Well, what if they just start with something like knight to d7? Well, we can still get the same trap, we just now have to include this kind of a waiting move like bishop to e2. What this move does, actually, it kind of attacks this pawn 3 times, and they want to protect it, and the most played move is again knight to f6. Now we play bishop to g5, and in this position again most guys are going to fail to realize that their queen is very trappable, and they will play like e6 or they will get castled. Those are the two most played moves, and they both run to bishop to d3, and again their queen is trapped. Unfortunately, this whole queen trapping idea is only possible in the line where they played pawn to h5, because this gave our dark square bishop access to the g5 square. So let's go back. It was at this point after pawn to h4 that they played pawn to h5. Unfortunately, pawn to h6 is like by far the most played move here. So are we going to be able to trap the queen here? Stay tuned. Of course, we are going to play knight to e5 to hit their bishop, and again the most accurate response for black here is to play queen to d6. We are going to grab this bishop, they recapture, and here is what I recommend you to do. You grab your light square bishop, you hover it over the c4 square, and then you go like boom. So what this does, it frightens them, it scares them, they see the bishop on c4, they are afraid, they are going to play pawn to e6 to block the bishop. Now we continue with pawn to d4, and here, Unfortunately, it is only the second most played move that they play knight to f6. If they play knight to f6, you go pawn to h5 to harass their queen, and 22 guys out of 25 played queen to g4, trying to get the queens exchanged like this, failing to realize that the bishops can move backwards, and bishop to e2 here traps the queen, and there is no way out here. So the better option for them would be to actually go queen to h7, and then after bishop to d3, even queen to g8. Just totally undeveloping their queen, which is, in my opinion, like a great opening success for white here. Okay, but the thing is, knight to f6 is only the second most played move. The most played move is bishop to d6, but this is still going to resolve in a great position for white, because we can now once again throw in this pawn to h5. If they wish to get their queen in jail, they can go queen to h7, which is going to be horrible for them. So they would rather go to f6, but now we fork their bishop and the queen, force them to play queen to e7, and now queen to g4 is the best move for white. And the idea is to have so much pressure against this, but also hitting this bishop. And the only move that survives here for black is to play king to f8 to hold on to the pawn with their king, which is not like very likely that they will play. Like 3 guys out of 12 found this move. It's 3 guys out of 13. But some other possible mistake that they can play are knight to f6, which loses to queen captures on g7. Somebody tried pawn to f5. It looks nice. It hits the bishop, the queen. It protects this, but it fails to queen to g6 check. And what else? Rook to h7 is an interesting option to cover the g7 pawn, but you play bishop to d3, and now you have ideas of some discard attack against this rook, so this is all winning for white. Okay guys, I think I shared everything that I wanted to share with you in this video. Thanks for watching, have fun crushing Caro-Kann, let me know in the comments what you think, and yeah, as always, have fun, take care, and